Making decisions based on what feels right is something I really believe in, and many people believed me to be insane. One of the most recognizable people on American television in the past was Shelley Long. Her portrayal of Diane Chambers in Cheers solidified her status as one of the best comedy actors of all time, in addition to helping the program become a global phenomenon. However, Shelley Long made the startling choice to leave Cheers at the height of her career. Hollywood was rocked by the decision, which led to many rumors, arguments, and unsolved mysteries in the history of television. Why would a well-compensated celebrity quit America's most successful show? Could she have been looking for more notoriety or a less demanding life? Most importantly, was it the correct choice or the start of a bad trend? Long went from being a major celebrity to slowly fading from the limelight. Her personal life got more turbulent, and her job stagnated. Unbelievable allegations of an attempted suicide made news due to a failing marriage, a deteriorating profession, and at one time, a serious psychiatric condition. As her old co-workers prospered years later, Shelley Long opted for a solitary existence, avoiding the spotlight. Fans were left wondering about her whereabouts when she failed to show up for the much-anticipated 2024 Cheers reunion. What really happened? Is Shelley Long sorry she left Cheers? Now where is she? Let's discover the whole tale of Shelley Long, the lady who once ruled Hollywood before disappearing in mystery. It's full of drama, surprising twists, and never-before-seen behind-the-scenes secrets. On August 23, 1949, Shelley Long was born into a middle-class family in Indian Village, Fort Wayne, Indiana. She was the only child of Leland Long, a former rubber worker who later became a teacher, and Iodine, a school teacher. She developed a strong sense of discipline and critical thinking as a result of growing up in a home where both parents worked as educators. Shelley's love of performance and communication was evident from a young age. Early on, she had a strong urge to use voice and gesture to represent characters in addition to enjoying being in front of an audience. She joined the school's speaking team in high school and soon rose to prominence in the Indiana High School Forensic Association. Shelley Long made history in 1967 when she won the National Forensic League's Original Oratory National Championship at the age of barely 18. The top orators from all around the United States participated in this prominent venue, so it wasn't just any tournament. Shelley defeated strong opponents with her razor-sharp eloquence and unmistakable stage presence, demonstrating her capacity to enthrall an audience, a talent that would later prove crucial in her acting career. Following her graduation from Fort Wayne's Southside High School, Shelley enrolled in Northwestern University, one of the country's most prominent theater schools, to further her love of the arts. But she took the audacious choice to leave school after just 2 years. Why? She came to see that practical experience was worth more than a degree. Shelley made the decision to get out into the real world and look for chances, while many of her peers stayed in lecture rooms, an unusual start for someone who would go on to become a television celebrity. Her first job in college was checking student food menus rather than performing on stage or in front of a camera. She soon relocated to Chicago, which has a flourishing theater and arts culture. The course of Shelley Long's life would change as a result of her choice. In order to get experience and learn more about the business, she began working as a model, acting in plays, and taking on modest television assignments. Despite not having a history in entertainment, Shelley Long established a strong foundation for herself when she entered the acting industry because to her innate skill and perseverance. Shelley Long quickly established herself in the entertainment world after graduating from college. Rather than waiting for possibilities to present themselves, she jumped right in, developing her acting abilities and making a name for herself right away. Joining Chicago's local television show, Sorting It Out, where she not only hosted but also created scripts, was one of the most significant turning points in her early career. She was able to demonstrate her inventiveness and show that she was capable of much more than simply acting, thus this was more than just an on-camera job. She received 3 regional Emmy Awards for her work on the program, which was crucial to its success. This is a remarkable accomplishment for someone who is still relatively new to the business. While working in television, Shelley also joined the Second City comedy team, the renowned improvisational organization that helped many of Hollywood's best comedians start their careers. There was no room for the weak of heart in Second City. There were no prepared lines or scripts, so the actors had to make up the humor as they went along. You either faded into obscurity or made the crowd chuckle. In addition to holding her own, Shelley immediately established herself as a witty comic actor with flawless improvising abilities. Hollywood became aware of her as her reputation increased. When she was chosen to play the lead in the action comedy Jumpin' Jack Flash in 1986, it seemed to be her first major break and might have catapulted her onto the A-list. However, things changed abruptly when Whoopi Goldberg, who would eventually win an Oscar for Ghost in 1990, was brought in at the last minute to replace her. As Celeste in My Stepmother is an Alien, 1988, 2 years later, Shelley almost landed another big-budget movie role. Kim Basinger, another actress who would go on to win an Academy Award, took her spot once again. What then took place? Why did Shelley Long keep passing up great chances to make her big-screen debut? According to some accounts, she lacked the box office appeal of other well-known celebrities, and her humorous style wasn't appropriate for action comedies. Some people think that Shelley had very high standards for choosing parts. She wouldn't embark on films unless she really thought the screenplay was good. Shelley Long persisted even after losing out on 2 Hollywood blockbusters. Shelley Long remained steadfast. She was getting ready for the part that would permanently alter her life, Diane Chambers in Cheers, while other performers in her situation would have given up or settled for lesser roles. This was the pivotal moment that solidified her place as one of the most recognizable television personalities of the 1980s and turned her into a genuine star. Nevertheless, that achievement had unanticipated repercussions. When Shelley Long was chosen to play Diane Chambers in the comedy Cheers in 1982, she took on one of the most pivotal roles of her career. At first, Lisa Iorn and Julia Duffy were among the numerous actresses that tried out for the role. Nevertheless, Shelley Long seemed unaffected, in contrast to the other applicants who eagerly sought the position. She knew the role belonged to her. The producers matched each actress with one of the 3 actors who auditioned for Sam Malone in order to guarantee on-screen chemistry between the two. A remarkable occurrence occurred when Shelley was eventually matched with Ted Danson. The production crew and NBC execs were utterly enthralled by their chemistry. The core of Cheers was the ideal contrast between Diane, who was smart, meticulous, and a little snobbish, and Sam, who was a playful, affable playboy. This connection had a major role in turning what at first glance seemed to be a doomed television program into a sensation. The truth was that when Cheers first came out, it was seen as a failure. Out of 77 television shows, its first season came in dead last. Ordinarily, such low ratings would have resulted in cancellation right away. Nevertheless, NBC chose to take a chance after seeing the show's potential. It proved to be the proper choice. Cheers had a difficult beginning, but it eventually found its audience and became one of the best comedies ever. Shelley Long's contribution to that accomplishment was undeniable. She received 2 Golden Globes, 5 Emmy nominations, and an Emmy Award for Outstanding Lead Actress in 1983 for her outstanding performance. She earned an incredible $450,000 each episode during the height of her career, which was a huge sum for the 1980s. The success of the program wasn't a coincidence. It was the outcome of the ideal combination of deft writing, complexly nuanced characters, and an environment that encouraged empathy. Not only was the speech in Cheers funny, but it was also clever, intended to foster quick-witted, clever banter amongst the characters. In contrast to previous sitcoms that focused on families or workplaces, Cheers was set in a small Boston bar where strangers were treated like family. In addition to being the first lyric of the show's theme tune, Where Everybody Knows Your Name symbolized the essence of Cheers, a place where everyone could find camaraderie and belonging. However, the most significant element that solidified Cheers in viewers' hearts was its enduring ensemble of characters, each of whom was distinct in their own right, yet blended in perfectly. The endearing bar owner with a problematic history is Sam Malone. Diane Chambers, the smart but conceited waitress who is always losing to Sam in witty arguments. Carla Tortelli, the feisty, rough waitress who has a talent for saying scathing but charming taunts. Norm Peterson, the adored bar regular who was usually greeted with a hearty "Norm" as soon as he entered. Cliff Clavin was a mailman who was always thinking about everything, whether or not someone questioned him. Cheers became more than simply a comedy because of these unique individuals. It became a cultural icon with characters whose influence persisted long after the show ended. The most memorable scenes from the program cemented its legacy in television history. The straightforward, yet iconic "Norm" greeting came to represent camaraderie and inclusion. One of the most iconic love tales on television was the turbulent relationship between Sam and Diane, which wavered between passion and conflict, love and hatred. The hilarity of the performance was enhanced by Cliff's ridiculously cerebral but incomprehensible speeches, which were often received with bewilderment. Of course, the iconic last moment, in which Sam Malone silently shut off the bar lights and closed the door, was a heartfelt and modest goodbye that brought an 11-year adventure that enthralled over 100 million people to a close. This triumph would not have been possible without Shelley Long. In addition to being a humorous counterpoint to Sam, her depiction of Diane Chambers was a unique kind of comedy character at the time, a perceptive, intelligent woman who wasn't scared to express her thoughts, but she was also flawed and emotionally sensitive. However, Shelley Long startled Hollywood by announcing her resignation from Cheers at the height of her success. Her departure after 5 seasons not only shocked viewers, but it also sparked a flurry of conjecture. Why would a high-profile celebrity quit America's most watched show? What really took place behind Cheers' scenes? Only years later would the reality of this choice become clear. In many respects, Shelley Long was Diane Chambers, not simply the character she was portraying. Sometimes it was hard to distinguish the actress from the character because she was so engrossed in the part, a rare occurrence in comedy performances. The scene when Diane sees Sam kissing Carla was one of the most revealing. The whole team was shocked when Shelley Long broke down in tears, even though it was just a staged scene. She was really devastated, as Diane would have been, and she wasn't pretending. In addition to her intense acting style, Shelley Long was a meticulous critic who often had contentious conversations with the authors to make sure Diane's character stayed true to herself. On set, this sometimes caused stress. Although he and Shelley had arguments during shooting, Ted Danson subsequently acknowledged that he never said anything negative about her. However, there were sometimes tense situations behind the scenes due to the continuous arguments about speech, character interpretation, and performance direction. Ted Danson wasn't the only one. In his biography, actor Kelsey Grammer, who portrayed Frasier Crane, said that Shelley Long had originally lobbied to have Frasier's character taken off the program, but that ultimately never happened. Personal disputes did not conclude the narrative. The direction of the script was a major factor in Shelley Long's decision to leave Cheers. The will-they-won't-they conflict between Sam and Diane was the main plot point of Cheers from the start. The filmmakers made the unexpected choice to have them become a couple too soon, thus lowering the dramatic intensity when their flaming dynamic finally developed into a genuine partnership. The authors found it difficult to maintain audiences' interest after that. They even contemplated marrying Sam and Diane and starting a family at one time. But this plotline was never developed. Later, author Ken Levine said that Cheers may have ended much sooner if Shelley Long hadn't gone. He thought that Kirstie Alley's replacement, Diane Chambers, caused the program to take a different turn, enabling it to run for an additional 6 seasons. However, Shelley's choice was very personal and had nothing to do with the program. In addition to the conflicts backstage and the lack of creativity, Shelley Long was under a great lot of strain at work. She was psychologically and physically exhausted from the demanding 14 to 16-hour shooting schedule, which was held 5 days a week. She had severe stress and migraines often. More significantly, however, her 1985-born daughter Juliana was growing up without her mother being as involved as she would have liked. Shelley Long left Cheers to become a mother, not only to pursue her job, but there was more to it than that. The Hollywood dream. Like Mary Tyler Moore before her, Shelley Long thought she could make the leap to the big screen and become a famous movie actor. She assumed that because she was already famous, chances would present themselves. However, life in Hollywood has never been simple. It was a risky move for Shelley Long to leave Cheers. The program went on. After Kirstie Alley took over, Cheers remained one of the best comedies on television. However, Shelley Long's post-Cheers life was not as easy as she had imagined. She was not become a cinematic star by the movies she appeared in after Cheers. She never achieved the heights she had previously experienced, although having some success with parts in Hello Again, Outrageous Fortune, and The Money Pit alongside Tom Hanks. While Shelley Long progressively lost her place in the Hollywood limelight, her former co-stars, Ted Danson and Kelsey Grammer, continued to flourish on television. Although she continued to have parts in Modern Family, Frasier, Boston Legal, and the Brady Bunch movie, none of these films brought her back to her previous level of fame. Shelley Long was not present for Cheers' 30th anniversary party. She vanished once again in 2024 when her old co-stars got back together for a significant occasion. When asked whether she felt bad about quitting Cheers years later, Shelley Long only said, "I have no regrets. I just made the best decision for myself at that time." Was that the correct choice, though? Shelley Long was no longer one of the most well-known figures in the business after Cheers. After experiencing personal hardships that were much more heartbreaking than the disappointments in her work, she fell into oblivion. And the most startling discovery would come from her private life, away from the limelight. In the 1970s, Shelley Long had a short and unrecognized first marriage before she became a Cheers celebrity. She was married to Ken Solomon, but their marriage ended peacefully and did not survive long. Although not much is known about this first marriage, it was obviously just a brief period of Shelley's life. She focused solely on her job in the next years, until she met the guy who seemed to be meant to be her lifelong companion. Shelley Long, then a budding TV actress, married financier Bruce Tyson in 1981. For more than 20 years, Shelley seemed to enjoy a steady and long-lasting marriage, in contrast to her Cheers character Diane Chambers, who was always having love problems. In addition to being her spouse, Bruce Tyson was a reliable source of income, which freed Shelley to focus on her creative goals without worrying about money. She said that spending more time with her family was a contributing factor in her contentious choice to depart Cheers at the height of her career. Their marriage was harmonious for many years. But when Shelley Long left Cheers and started on a far more challenging route, things started to shift. The projects she worked on didn't provide the kind of success she had hoped for, and she started to feel the effects of her professional setbacks. Shelley's mental condition became more unstable as she dealt with a string of failed projects, roles that lost their punch, and the constant threat of a fading fame. Her marriage began to fall apart at the same time as her job became unclear. Conversations became less frequent, the pair drifted apart, and their emotional gap grew. In 2004, Shelley Long and Bruce Tyson formally separated after 23 years of dating. This divorce was the most traumatic event in her personal life, if leaving Cheers was the most contentious choice of her career. It pushed Shelley lengthy into one of the darkest times of her life, and it was more than simply the loss of a lengthy marriage. Within months following the divorce, Hollywood was rocked by a startling revelation. Shelley Long was in serious condition when she was admitted to the hospital. When news outlets announced in November 2004 that Shelley Long had been located after a suspected overdose, it caused a flurry of harrowing conjecture. Did she no longer want to live? Reports from sensationalized media shocked the population. According to several accounts, Shelley had descended into a profound despair after her divorce. She stopped attending important Hollywood events, turned inward, distanced herself from friends and co-workers, and almost disappeared from the public view. According to other sources, she overdosed because she believed she had nothing left to cling to after experiencing a full mental breakdown that prompted her to turn to drugs for comfort. A short time later, Shelley Long's agent came forth to refute the claims, stating that it was only an accident. The statement claimed that she had been dealing with persistent back pain for years and that the event was not a planned overdose, but rather the result of taking too much pain medicine. But the harm was done, whether it was a true accident or not. Instead of her previous victories, the once-admired diva was now linked to catastrophic headlines. Shelley Long was no longer the same person she had been, and that was the fact. Once a renowned actress at the height of her career, she was now the focus of depressing tales, known for her personal tragedies and losses that had come to define her life more than her skill or professional accomplishments. Despite leaving Cheers when the show was still at its height, Shelley Long's influence on American sitcoms has not lessened. In addition to being one of the most iconic characters in television history, her depiction of Diane Chambers served as a model for other female comedy roles in the future. Diane had a strong personality, a keen intellect, and an intriguing sense of pride. She wasn't just a supporting role meant to balance the male protagonist. One of the most famous will-they-won't-they partnerships in television history was the contrast between Sam Malone, the laid-back, carefree ladies' guy, and Diane, the intelligent, snobbish, yet vulnerable lady. Following Shelley Long's departure, Kirstie Alley's portrayal of Rebecca Howe, the show's new female star, helped it maintain its appeal. But the question of whether Cheers was better with Diane or Rebecca has never really been resolved, even to this day. This ongoing conversation demonstrates how profoundly Diane Chambers impacted audiences, so much so that no one could ever fully replace her. Diane's presence remained remembered even though Cheers went on for 6 more seasons. In 1993, Shelley Long made a comeback to wrap up Diane's plot in the series finale, which attracted 42.4 million people and was one of the most viewed last episodes in television history. Shelley Long contributed to redefining the position of women in comedy beyond Cheers. Prior to her, female characters in TV comedies were often limited to being innocent, nice, or exaggerated for humorous effect, acting as antagonists to the main male characters. That pattern was broken by Diane Chambers. She was unashamedly herself, educated, and outspoken. A new breed of multifaceted, multidimensional female comedic characters was made possible by her witty, flawed, and vulnerable humor. There may not have been a Lily Aldrin in How I Met Your Mother, a Rachel Green in Friends, or the other witty female protagonists in The Office and Third Rock from the Sun if Diane Chambers hadn't been there. Not only did Shelley Long create a memorable character, but she also set a higher standard for comedy acting. The part of Diane Chambers was challenging, needing both physical humor and verbal dexterity while preserving the character's intellectual appeal. Diane was one of the most dynamic and captivating comedy characters ever, because to Shelley's flawless timing, expressive facial expressions, and ability to strike a balance between humor and real emotion. Her 5-season run for an Emmy, 2 Golden Globes, and several award nominations is no accident. Diane Chambers is still regarded by both industry insiders and television reviewers as one of the finest comedy characters of all time, almost 40 years after Cheers debuted. In one interview, Ted Danson acknowledged that without Shelley Long, Cheers might not have been as successful. She had already established the groundwork for the show's durability, enabling it to flourish for a further 10 years, even though she left it at its peak. Even though she didn't have the successful movie career she had hoped for, Shelley Long's influence on television endures. Diane Chambers is more than simply a character in the comedy industry. She is a landmark, a shift in the writing of female parts, and evidence of the ideal fusion of acting prowess and nuanced psychology. That is the real legacy of Shelley Long, and it is still as important today. Shelley Long is no longer well known in Hollywood, but she hasn't given up acting entirely. She struggled with a string of failed ventures until the Brady Bunch movie, 1995, gave her a big boost in her career. The movie surprisingly became a smash, getting Shelley favorable reviews from critics and making over $46 million at the box office. At least it guaranteed her a place in the hearts of a new generation of fans, even if it didn't elevate her to the level of her Cheers days. However, Shelley Long didn't really have an opportunity to reach younger audiences again until she joined Modern Family from 2009 until 2018. In her role as the quirky mother of Jay Pritchett, Ed O'Neill, Dee Dee Pritchett, she gave a heartfelt and humorous performance. Even though she only starred in 8 episodes, the part was a reminder of Shelley's comic genius, which was what originally made Cheers so successful. More importantly, the Pritchett family reflected on Dee Dee's influence, making her departure in Modern Family one of the most poignant scenes in the series. This event was similar to Shelley Long's own career in many respects, a once famous name progressively disappearing as Hollywood entered a new age. Shelley Long has almost vanished from Hollywood despite her sporadic TV appearances. There are no nostalgic interviews, no film premieres, and no attendance at important award shows. The Cheers cast has gotten back together many times for special occasions, but Shelley Long is never there. She was the only member of the show's renowned cast who did not attend the show's 2024 celebration of the 30th anniversary of its last episode. Many were left asking, "Where is Shelley Long?" because of her disappearance. Why has she remained so estranged from her former co-workers? The few sightings of Shelley Long in recent years have come from unposed street shots in Los Angeles rather than red carpet events. She used to be the queen of glitzy sitcoms, but now she lives a tranquil, uncomplicated life and is often seen walking her dog. Shelley Long appears quite modest now, like any other lady in her 70s, without the gaudy Hollywood costumes and excessive makeup. There are always questions when one sees someone who used to dominate television screens now walking in silence through the streets. Does Shelley Long ever feel guilty? Although she left Cheers at its height, she did not achieve the success she had hoped for in the years that followed. Shelley Long has chosen to become silent, removing herself from the limelight she once so brilliantly dominated, while her former co-stars, Ted Danson and Kelsey Grammer, have continued to have success. Has she really achieved the tranquility she was looking for when she left Cheers? Or is this just Hollywood's guarded silent desertion of her? A lady who was once at the height of television but is now being progressively marginalized by the constantly evolving entertainment industry. It's possible that only Shelley Long knows the solution. Once the queen of sitcoms, Shelley Long was a well-known figure who received 2 Golden Globes, 5 Emmy nominations, and a huge salary. However, things changed in 1987 when she decided to quit Cheers. She went from being a television celebrity to a peaceful existence for personal reasons, eventually fading out of the Hollywood limelight. However, Shelley Long's legacy endures forever. Diane Chambers is still an essential character in Cheers, which is still considered one of the best comedies ever made. Had she remained, would her career have gone in a different direction? Or had her chosen course always been predestined? How do you feel with Shelley Long's choice? Which cheering moment is your favorite? Which would you rather have, Rebecca or Sam and Diane? And do you think Cheers is the best comedy ever? Join the conversation by leaving a comment. Remember to press the subscribe button to continue learning about the amazing tales of Hollywood icons. I'll see you in the next video.